have seen yesterday what are the different trends that have appeared in India after the emergency period. Many of the opposition parties of the Congress, they have united together to oppose Congress where they won the elections, Janata Party. But of course it was a short-lived one because of the internal squabbles and defections. And later we have seen that the emergence of regional political parties like Telugu Desam Party or Assam Gan Parishad Party, which was initiated by the All Assam Students Union of the Students. So let us now see another agitation that occurred in India, especially with the regional problems, with the regional inclinations. So first of all, today we will observe that the Punjab agitation. Punjab agitation, you know very well that Punjab is a state which has the roots from the beginning in the national movement. And these Punjab, it is a combination of Muslim population, this Sikh population, and also some of the Hindus. That means what is happening is, here so many groups of the people are living together. After the partition of India, many of the Muslims, they went to that Pakistan, but some of the Muslims, they were living in Punjab only. And now these Punjab people, after the partition and after the independence, they are not happy with the incidences that are taking place in Punjab. Especially when the Chandigarh was created as a common capital between Punjab and Haryana, the people of Punjab, they felt very, very unhappy and dissatisfied. First thing. Second thing is, the people of Punjab, they need more and more recruitment into the army. Why? What is the reason? Because 95% of the population of Punjab, they do depend on agriculture, but their offsprings, they used to get the recruitment into the army, and almost 70% of the Sikh population, they used to get the occupation, or they used to get their livelihood into the recruitment of the army. But unfortunately, after the independence, the government of India has taken a decision to decentralize even the cantonments. And due to that, what happened? The number of Sikh population, those who are absorbed into the army, has decreased. So they started demanding that more Sikh population shall be absorbed into the army. That is the second demand. And the third demand, that is after the construction of the Bakranangal project, the water, most of the water that they started demanding for the Punjab region. Why? What is the reason? Simple. Punjab is an agri-oriented economy, and hence they started demanding more and more water for the irrigation. But unfortunately, what happened was this Bakranangal water, according to the agreements between the states, Rajasthan, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh, they were sharing. This was not acceptable to these Punjabis. So mainly these three reasons developed dissatisfaction among the people. Not only that, the language, the culture, all these things are also not considered by the central government. This is the main contention of the Punjabi people, and hence the Shiromani Akali Dal, which is a local party that is established in Punjab, they started demanding that they want more autonomy, they want more decentralization of the powers, they want complete independence from the central government. Like this, they started demanding. That is why in the year 1978, these Akali Dal, they have written one big letter to the central government, that is Janata government, asking them that we need more autonomy. Decentralization of the powers is very essential, which promotes democracy in the country. Like that, they started demanding, they started asking. But you know very well, 1979, that the collapse of the Janata government, 1980, once again Congress has come into the power. When Congress came into the power in the year 1980, to retaliate the actions of the Janata, it has dismissed non-Congress governments. Here we should remember that Congress was always contending against this Shiromani Akali Dal's intentions. Means these two, Congress and Akali Dal, both became very strong rivals to each other to capture the political power in Punjab. That is the reason 1980, when Congress has come into the power, they have dismissed the government in this Punjab. That is SAD government was dismissed. This increased the tensions. This increased the tensions in all the people or in this particular state. At this particular junction, one particular leader by name Bhindranwale, he started demanding that it is not at all correct to stay back in this particular country or the state without having any recognition. They want a complete recognition for the Sikhs, and for that particular purpose, to get a complete separate Sikh state, he started demanding that a complete Sikh state shall be given in the name of the Khalistan. Like this, a new demand has raised in this Punjab. That means the regional, only these three reasons what were demanded by them, when they were ignored by the central government, and when the central government was not sensitive, immediately that has given rise for the aggressive demands of a complete separation and complete a separate state for the Sikhs. And this was almost increased by pouring the ghee into the flames, that is by the supply of the arms and also money support from Pakistan. This was allegedly identified. And later what happened, the Sikh militantism developed in the name of demanding Khalistan by Bhindranwale. And these Sikh militants, they have resorted to many violent activities, like attacking onto the public places, attacking onto the non-Sikh communities. Whoever are the non-Sikh communities, they were completely attacked and they were culminated. So this has resulted finally in a very tensed situation in Punjab. So to stop these violence, to control the law and order, to restore the peace in this particular state, that is in Punjab, the central government has to deploy the army forces. And hence 1984, that government of India under the leadership of Mrs. Indira Gandhi has taken a decision to launch Operation Blue Star. What is this Operation Blue Star? You know very well that the sixth holy place, that is Gurudwara in Amritsar, this Amritsar has become a very important place to hide these militants. The militants, they have occupied, the Sikh militants have occupied this Gurudwara. They started hiding themselves in the Gurudwara, which has caused which is obstructing to control this militantism. So now the central government has taken a decision that we will enter into the Gurudwara, we will clear all the militants from this Gurudwara. And this particular operation was given the name Operation Blue Star. In the name of this Operation Blue Star, the army entered into that Gurudwara and eliminated all the militants. This particular event raised the dissatisfaction among all the Sikh people, because most of the Sikhs, they started feeling that this means the central government under the leadership of Indira Gandhi, they have taken a step to spoil the holiness of the Gurudwara. And so this particular Sikh militants, they fastly spread their ideology into the people. Unfortunately, Mrs. Indira Gandhi was killed by her own 3 bodyguards, those who are the Sikhs. Indira Gandhi was assassinated by these Sikh militants. This has given rise for dissatisfaction among all the other sections of the people. They started feeling that the Sikhs have crossed their limits and they have created a very aggressive and terrorist activities. Hence, they were very angry with the Sikhs, and automatically after the death of Indira Gandhi, especially in Delhi, many of the Sikhs, they were attacked, they were killed, their properties were dismantled. Like this, they have taken very aggressive steps against these Sikhs. So the Sikhs and the common people, they started confronting each other at every time. So at this particular junction, the total time or the total state was in turmoil. There was completely very dangerous situation for the law and order position. So immediately after the assassination of Indira Gandhi, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister. The Rajiv Gandhi, who is the younger son of Indira Gandhi, became the Prime Minister, and he started taking certain steps to restore peace in Punjab. He understood that violence is not the correct way to solve any problem. To solve the problems, we should take some steps which will promote the long run peace. Hence, he called that leader, that is Shiromani Akali, the leader, Mr. Longowal, held peace negotiations with Longowal. He held peace negotiations with Longowal. He asked him what are the demands and what the central government can do. All these things they discussed. When the elections were held, Shiromani Akali Dal was elected by the people, no doubt at all. But the steps or the negotiations that were held in between Rajiv Gandhi and Longowal, it did not give any fruitful result. Why? Because the Sikh militants, they are very angry with Longowal that he was having negotiations with Rajiv Gandhi, means he is acting against to the Sikhs. Like this, the Sikh militants, they started propaganda with which Longowal was also assassinated. And these Sikh people, they have started announcing that there is a separate state, that is Khalistan, and they have decided that they will rule in the form of the Akali Takht. So Akali Takht means what? That particular Simhasana of the Akalis or the Sikhs. And from then onwards, they started declaring that this is Khalistan, this is only for the Sikhs, and we will rule our own Sikhs. We don't listen, or we don't will follow the rules of the central government. Like this, a separate existence has been declared from 1986. But this has given rise for a threat to the unity and integrity of the country. Hence, the central government has to take severe and hard steps against these violent activities of the Sikhs. And these Sikhs, in order to get the support, because they need funds. They need funds to run the government, or they need funds to buy the weapons. For all these things, they have resorted to illegal activities like kidnapping, or even going for threatening the people like this, and extraction of the funds from the public. So with these illegal activities, slowly the Khalistan demand, it started watering down. Now here we have to observe that these particular people, that is the Khalistan people, are the militants, the Sikh militants, they started resorting to the bomb blast in the public places like markets or restaurants. Especially the non-Sikh community, they were killed. Derailing, they have derailed the railway tracks such that rail accidents would happen and so many people would die. Means here, as they are resorting to the illegal activities and causing a disturbance to the civil life, taking the lives of the common people, what is the option that is there in the hands of the central government? This is the question. Of course, the central government has taken very severe hard steps to suppress these Sikh militism. And for that, always they use the military forces, they have taken aggressive steps, or they have taken hard steps to control this militism. Like this, these are all there. And the steps that are taken by the central government were questioned by some of the human rights activists. What they have questioned is it necessary to take such hard steps against these people, that is Sikh militants? Now here comes the question. Okay, suppose a person who has killed or who has taken the lives of 100 or 1000 people was there, what the central government should do? Should they go for the regular procedure, or should they take immediate action by firing upon them, like this, giving special powers to the army? So this is the question that was raised by many of the people. And when the constitutional rights of the people were not observed, when the constitutional rights of the people were violated by some other forces, is it not necessary for the central government to take hard steps? Definitely yes. But should we also behave like terrorists to culminate terrorism? What is the difference then between a terrorist and a constitutional government? This is the question raised by many of the people. Many of the people. But of course, the central government also has retaliated some steps, and these violent activities that were taken place during this particular period, that made the common people to think in a different way about the activities of the militants. So with this, what happened? The militants almost lost their sympathy. First thing is, they lost their sympathy from the common people, even from the Sikhs also. Second thing is the very harsh steps that were taken by the central government made all the others also to think that it is, if we take any further steps for promoting any violent or any militant activities, this may cause the death of us, like that the sign or that particular intimation was given by the central government. So now the question is in front of us. What is the best way to solve any problem? The best way to solve the problem is to promote violence, or to take long run steps which will control these aggressions. This is the thing that we need to concentrate now. And we need to appreciate the role of Rajiv Gandhi also. Rajiv Gandhi, of course, when he became the Prime Minister, he has all the powers. He can take the steps against these Sikhs, but he held the peace negotiations. That means he understood that the problem can be solved with the negotiations by granting some powers to the states, by decentralizing the powers. That is the reason he held negotiations with Assam or Punjab. You remember that even in Assam also, the negotiations were held with this, that is all Assam Students Union, and also the agitators. They have given they have conducted the elections in the country, even before the period itself. Like this, that means what? He wanted to take long run steps. He has like this peace negotiation. Not only in India, he also helped Sri Lanka in the issue of the Tamilians. The Tamil militants LTTE, who were causing a trouble to Sri Lanka, he has extended his helping hand by promoting the Indian peacekeeping force. But of course, that has resulted in the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated just because of these LTTE leaders in the year 1989. So, like this, peace negotiations were held between Assam, with the Assam, Punjab and also Sri Lanka. And the second most important step that were taken by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was giving priority for the local governance. What do you mean by local governance? Local governance means he understood that out of every 1 rupee that is spent for the welfare of the poor people, only 15 paise is reaching to the poor people. That means the mediators who are there, due to that maybe that particular welfare is not reaching to the very needed people. Hence he wanted to promote the local self-government institutions with the help of the Panchayat Raj. So that is the reason he has promoted the Panchayat Raj Act. And the third one is he understood that it is very, very essential for the development of the country to go along with the technology. So, for the improvement of the technology, the only way is to improve the communication, and for that he has developed the telecom revolution, promoted more and more private investments into the telecom. That is, until then we have only BSNL or only the government phones, but after some time, means after Rajiv Gandhi, it has given rise for more and more private telephone companies. The next one is, for the first time in the year 1985, when the budget was introduced, he has welcomed more and more liberalization. More liberal budget was given during the period of Rajiv Gandhi. So, like this we can see that some changes were adopted by Rajiv Gandhi. 4. First one is peace negotiations with Assam, Punjab and the Sri Lanka. Second one is giving priority for local governance to make sure that every rupee whatever that is spent for the people would reach on to the needy. Giving priority for technology in the form of telecom revolution, and the fourth one is introducing a liberal budget. These are the different steps that were taken. But at the same time, see, it is not only the development. In this particular period, we have seen that the rise of communalism, the rise of religious importance. See here that you can see that during this particular period in the year 1985, there was a case that was dealt by the Supreme Court, which is called as the Shah Banu case. A Muslim lady who was divorced by her husband in the year 1985, she filed a case in Supreme Court for maintenance. The Supreme Court also has given a verdict that she will be given a maintenance, but this was taken as the interference of the government into the personal religious matters of the people. According to the Islamic law, one-sided divorce is there. Whenever the husband he wanted to give the divorce, he can give. But unfortunately, this was not an welcoming trend. Hence, when 1985, when Supreme Court has given the decision to promote the welfare or to give the maintenance, this was felt by the Orthodox Muslim community that it is against to the privileges of the Islam community. Hence, in the year 1986, the government has to pass a law that the maintenance can be given only for 3 months. That means what? The government has to accept the religious ideologies. So, for the first time, the communalism or the religion has entered into the politics, and the government has to take a step back. And second thing is, during this particular period only, we have observed that there arose the corruption at a very high level. The Swedish manufacturers, gun manufacturers were there. From them, it was alleged that the bribe was received at a very high level, and due to that, they bought the weapons which are not suitable for the Indian army. Like this, a very high level corruption was observed for the first time in the Indian history. So, due to the Swedish manufacturers issue, one of the cabinet ministers resigned and established Janata Dal to fight this corruption. At the same time, to increase the participation or demands to increase the representation of different groups of the people, here also we can see that the farmers, they have united under different leaders. Mahendra Singh Tikait represented the farmers of UP and Haryana. He started representing the problems of the Kisan, that is farmers. And at the same time, that is Sharad Pawar, he has become a very, very important leader in the promotion of the interest of the farmers in Maharashtra. So, like this, there arose different small interest or different small groups interest also widened during this particular period, 1984 to 1989. perfectly all the interest of even the smallest group also they started recognizing. Like this, what happened, this has given rise for the representation of all the people, all the people in the country. So once again I repeat children, that is who was the leader of the farmers in Uttar Pradesh and Haryana? Yes, you are right, Mahendra Singh Tikayat. Mahendra Singh Tikayat was the leader. And who was the leader in Maharashtra? Sharad Joshi. Maharashtra, who is the leader? Sharad Joshi. So Sharad Joshi, he was the leader in Maharashtra to fight for the sake of the farmers' interest. So like this, these were and also the people, those who are displaced due to these dams construction or due to the more and more industrialization, their interest also they started integrating into the problems that are associated with India. So these all issues were taken up by the local parties or by the parties and slowly this has given rise for another trend that is called as the coalition politics. So in the year 1989, when the elections were held, another party, that is Janata Dal, started ruling the people. How? When the elections were conducted, Congress won the elections with the majority, but they did not find complete majority to form the government. You know very well, out of 555 seats, they should at least win 275 seats to form the government. But Congress did not win that much of majority. At the same time, even Janata Dal, that is which was established by Vishwanath Pratap Singh also, they did not find that much of majority. Hence, with the support of the local parties or the regional parties like TDP, AGP, SAD, CPI, like this, with the support of all these parties, they started forming the governments. That means a party which could not form the government took the help of the regional parties and established a government, and these governments we call them as the coalition politics. So in the next class we will learn about the coalition politics. Until then, good day children.